Hey everybody, what is going on? This is Anthony with VR365. You know what, my microphone, I moved my microphone around yesterday and never moved it back into proper position here. So let's get it like that. Okay, so let me go ahead and pop out my chat. Alrighty, what is going on everybody? It is Wednesday. It is December 12th. And it is about 11:02 a.m. What is up? Gotta say, don't have a ton on the docket today. This may be one of our shorter episodes in quite some time because really the only thing I have to get into today is I do have 3 more games for the month of September. So we will continue our discussion on the best VR games of September 2018. We will continue to bang away on that. But other than that, I don't have anything else. Now, the good news or the bad news is I have not looked at news whatsoever. So maybe there's a lot of news headlines that are going on. And the other thing is I haven't looked at the subreddits today at all. So maybe there's a lot of good stuff that's going on the subreddits. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to start out and we can talk about the best stuff of September. We'll finish that off. And then after we get through that, we can go ahead and maybe check out the mailbag. And then after we get through that, we can go ahead and check out some of the websites and see what some of the latest news stories are. We can check some of the subreddits. And so we'll just kind of bounce around and do that. Not a lot prepared here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get things started. And let's do a quick recap of some of the September games that we covered yesterday. I just want to recap this really quick before we get into our new games. So we started off on the month of September and basically we covered 3 games yesterday. We covered Windlands 2, which is of course by Sept Games, that arrived on the Oculus Rift on September 12th. We covered Transference, which arrived on September 18th. That is courtesy of Spectravision in collaboration with Ubisoft. We covered Blind, which of course is by Tiny Bull Studios, and that arrived on September 18th. And those were the 3 games that we covered yesterday. Now, we have 3 more to get into. We kind of ran out of time a little bit there yesterday. Couldn't cover all of them. So we'll go ahead and cover the other 3 big ones that we have remaining in the month of September. September is a pretty strong month when you really get down to it. There is a lot of good stuff in the month of September. Okay, so what is game number 4? I need to get my notes out here. And okay, there's game number 4. So let me go ahead and grab it. Grab the trailer at least. And pop that on the screen. And so here it is. This is game number 4. Game number 4 is Jet Island. And this is, of course, by Master Indie. It arrived on September 21st for both Steam and Oculus Store. Jet Island, certainly one of kind of like a cult classic right about now, actually. This is kind of one of the most beloved games that has hit Steam in the last several months. Definitely an indie game, definitely an underrated kind of a game. Maybe in the beginning, a lot of people didn't really jump on this or know what it was about, but word of mouth has spread, and a lot of people now understand what Jet Island is all about, and they're really into Jet Island. In fact, I believe our very own MAME fan considers this one of his favorite games of the entire year. I think he actually ranks this baby above Windlands 2, which I think is cray-cray, but that's his own, that's his own thing, and you could have your own opinion on stuff like that. Now, in regards to Jet Island and me playing Jet Island, like, what do I think about Jet Island? Well, the truth of the matter is I haven't spent anywhere near enough time in this game like I probably should have. I still have not really like battled any bosses in this game or upgraded anything or done anything like that. And what I've mostly done in this game, I mean, this is a confession right here because I really haven't gone back into this game since it first arrived, and I've only been in it a handful of times. And every time that I've been in it, I've basically just used it like it was some kind of like meditation platform, really. That's pretty much, you know how we have a few apps that are on Steam, a few experiences that are designed as like meditation, you know, chill out and just kind of vibe out on the beach and just sit there on the beach and just watch the waves come in and, you know, meditate and get into this like Zen kind of a place, right? And we have certain apps that are actually very specifically designed to do that. But for me, that's kind of the way I've dealt with Jet Island is I just kind of cruise around this world, listen to the awesome music. I kind of treat it almost like it's a Tony Hawk game. Like I'm not even trying to like go anywhere or achieve any kind of a mission or anything. I'm just carving up the awesome scenery is what I'm doing. You know, there's ramps and jumps all over the damn place. And then you also do have this Spider-Man Windlands kind of ability where you can shoot out these extension cables, these webs or whatever you want to call them, and you can kind of use that as well to whip yourself around the level. Now, one Ant's a hippie. That's VR Gamers. Yeah, Ant is a hippie. Nah, I wouldn't classify myself as a hippie. I like to think of myself as open-minded. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm open-minded to all kinds of experiences, brah. Now, I'm not going to get into that voice today. I did way too much of that yesterday. It's funny because a lot of people, like we were in the Discord server yesterday, and I forget who it was, but somebody was like, man, Anthony really went into that Valley Girl voice a whole lot yesterday. It's funny how some people call it the Valley Girl voice. Dude, like, bruh, that is not cool that you call it a Valley Girl voice, you know? I'm not a girl. Like, come on, bro. But anyway, as far as Jet Island goes, that's kind of the way I've treated it. Almost like a Tony Hawk, just chilling through the countrysides. And one of the things that I've mentioned in regards to VR too, and I've said this and other people have agreed a little bit, is sometimes I find myself, do the voice, that's Kev Grat. Sometimes I find myself, man. No, sometimes I find myself having like the deepest thoughts while I'm in VR. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like you're in kind of an isolation chamber. You know, you're in whatever room you happen to be in, but your consciousness has basically transferred to wherever you are because you're seeing this other place, you're hearing this other place, and you're kind of in this other place. And I don't know what it is about that where I just kind of can zone out and think some really deep kind of a thoughts and almost like meditate and stuff. So that's what I've done with Jet Island. And I've had a blast just doing that. I haven't even explored the bosses. I haven't really done any other stuff in terms of upgrading things. And I know Main Fan, like he was saying here, that I really haven't done anything. He says, then you've barely done anything. You haven't really played the game, basically. Main Fan says, go towards the red beams, man. You know, actually get into this game, actually do this game. And yeah, I've never fought a boss in Jet Island. I've barely touched the game, to be completely and totally honest with you. This game hit. Look, we already had Windlands 2 when this game came out. We had Transference when this game came out. We had Blind when this game came out. And then all the other games, we had those late releases in August, like Firewall Zero Hour and Torn and Bow to Blood. So I was juggling all of these games and then got Jet Island as well. And I really haven't given Jet Island its proper due as far as a game to really get in there and play. And that's kind of the tragedy of being in my particular situation. Now, what I've always said is, don't cry for me, Argentina. Don't shed a tear, because you know what? I'm happy with the way things are. I get to play so many VR games. I get to touch so many VR games. So don't cry for me. Now, there will be a moment, hopefully later this month, actually in this month of December, where things will start to slow down in a major, major way. And that's where I can go back and visit a game like Jet Island. One of the things I do remember, though, about Jet Island, remember how I was kind of saying it was like a Tony Hawk thing, and I was kind of having a Tony Hawk kind of experience? One of the coolest things about it is you will go way up the side of a huge, gigantic ramp, and you're just flying way up in the air, and you're using your jets, which are on your wrists, and you're just shooting way the hell up in the air, and you look down, and you're like, wow, look at that way down there. And you kind of get this feeling in your chest or whatever, or in your stomach, where when you're coming back down, you're like, whoa, I'm falling back down. It's kind of similar. Have you guys ever been driving around in your car and you go up, like, you go through a certain tunnel or up a certain bridge, and you kind of get that weird sensation in your body? I did kind of get that a number of times when I was playing Jet Island. Definitely a fan of this game. Definitely need to get back in there and bang away at it a little bit more. Okay, so that is our fourth game that we're talking about here in the month of September, Jet Island by Master Indie. Let's go ahead and get into number 5. Okay, let me grab the trailer for number 5. Alrighty, so our number 5th game, the 5th game of September, is Creed Rise to Glory by Survios, and this, of course, arrived on September 25th. It hit all the major platforms. This is available on PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, it's on Steam, etc., and a cashmere sweater. Now, am I really into Creed? What are my thoughts on Creed? I gotta be honest, man, and you know, I gotta call it like I see him, and I don't know what it is, but right now I'm just not really in the mood to get sweaty when I'm playing VR. Like, there was a time when I was into that, and there was a time when I was actually doing almost like an exercise routine. And I kind of was telling myself, well, I'm going to spend about 1 hour or 45 minutes or whatever, and I'm going to go through an exercise routine. I'm going to play some Racket NX, and then I'm going to play some Cyberpunk VR, and then I'm going to play some Beat Saber, and then I'm going to play some Thrill of the Fight. And I would kind of do like a little exercise routine, and I would get pretty sweaty, and I'd have to take off my headset, you know, here and there so that it didn't get soaked with sweat or it didn't get too sweaty. And I kind of was trying to get a little bit of exercise. Now, of course, there's people on the various subreddits that will say, dude, you can't exercise in VR. Like, this isn't real exercise. Like, you'll get people that'll jump on and say that, and like they'll say, like, if you think this is your exercise, you're not really getting any exercise. And I'm kind of the person that believes any exercise is good exercise. If you get your ass up off of the sofa and you walk to the kitchen and you make yourself a gigantic sandwich, that's good exercise, man. You got up off the sofa, you walked a few steps, you opened your refrigerator door, you got some different stuff out, you're moving stuff around. That is exercise, man. I believe all exercise is good exercise. Sure, now if you get outside of your house and you go jog on a 5-mile jog at a pretty good clip and you come back, that's a lot better exercise. That's better exercise, but I'm a believer any exercise is good exercise. So, you know, I disagree with those out there that say like VR is not good exercise. It's all good in my opinion. But I'm just not in that mood right now. And so when I got Creed, I got in there, I tried Creed, I enjoyed Creed, and probably the best aspect of Creed really is the different boxing arenas that they put you in, and you see in the backgrounds, you see the crowd, like, you know, they have a number of different stadiums and different kind of arenas that you'll box in, and you're seeing people in the crowd, and as you're in there, and you're doing the boxing and you're doing the fighting, you'll kind of look, you know, with the corner of your eye, you'll look off into the crowd and you'll see some cameras flashing and you'll see people in the audience and they're kind of moving around and reacting. Now, if you're not looking really close, it actually looks really quite good. But if you really pay attention to the audience, you'll see the same people kind of, you know, the same people are populated over and over again. They're kind of doing the same motions. And that's what we've had in a lot of sports games for a long time. We haven't really gotten to the place where every single person is like an individually created character. They're doing their own things automatically, their own behaviors, you know, so they're kind of like looping animations and using the same characters over and over again. But I still feel they did a damn good job here. Survios did a damn good job giving you that real kind of boxing experience that you get with Creed. It's definitely a higher end experience, in my opinion, than Thrill of the Fight. And then there's all the movie stuff as well. I mean, you do have like a model of Sylvester Stallone that is standing right in front of you. Pretty good voiceover work. It's not actually Sly Stone doing the voiceover, I don't believe, but they got somebody that does a pretty damn good impression. And then there's the characters and the graphics and everything. Like, these guys are standing in front of you and, you know, they're punching at you. And you really feel like you have like a 6'3" muscle-bound monster that is banging away at you. And it can be quite intimidating. And I think graphically, the audio and everything is all top-notch. And there's a lot of people that swear by this game. They love this game. Some people believe like Creed is one of the very best games of this year. I think it's a very solid game, but I just didn't get into it personally because I get to the point where I can feel I'm starting to sweat. I can feel like it's starting to happen, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do this. But one of the best endorsements I can give for this game is my 15-year-old son actually would come in here a lot and want to play this game. And he would just say, Dad, boxing, Dad, boxing. Like, he wouldn't say Creed. Just like, Dad, put on the boxing game is basically, and he would get in there and he'd be doing it. And man, he would sweat up my Oculus Rift face cushion way too much. Like, sometimes I want to put it on and, oh God, there's no worse feeling in the world. Easily one of the worst feelings ever is to put on a headset that was just used by somebody and it's soaking with sweat. Oh man, it's one of the worst sensations. It's like cold and wet and stinky, and it is just all bad. And so what I really needed to do, like if I'm really going to get into something like this, you really need to go to like VR Covers or somebody like that, and you need to have a couple of different face inserts that you can cycle out. And so if your kid hops onto your Oculus Rift and they get it all nasty and sweaty, bam, you just pop off that facial insert and you have another one that is sitting over there in another area. It is completely dry, completely fresh. You pop that baby on there and you are good to go. And so that's kind of my thought there on Creed Rise to Glory. But still a very solid game. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. The only downside is you probably will get a little bit hot and sweaty. Okay, so that is our 5th game in the month of September. So what I'll do is I'm going to go through all these 3 games and then I'll jump back into chat and see what everybody was talking about in chat afterwards. So let's go to number 6. And our number 6 game is, get it up on here. Our number 6 game is Vox Machinae. And Vox Machinae arrived on September 26th. This is coming to us from Space Bullet. Now, we heard about Vox Machinae for quite some time. And you might remember back to my discussion about Archangel, which didn't qualify and should not have been mentioned. Archangel was a 2017 game. But you might remember back to the discussion of Archangel, I was talking about how everybody was complaining, dude, this is on rails, man. It's not fair. It's on rails. Nobody wants a game that's on rails. Like, we want Mech Warrior, but we want to be able to go in any direction we want. Okay, I thought I wasn't going to do that voice, but I did it again. But yeah, that's what people were talking about in regards to Archangel, and I felt like they really kind of shat on Archangel, didn't give it a fair shake, but this is what they wanted. Vox Machinae is basically what they wanted. They wanted a mech style game where you could head off in any particular direction. They wanted it to be multiplayer. By the way, Job just arrived. My dog is barking a little bit and Job is here, so we're going to have a lot of noise pollution in the background. My apologies for that. In fact, he just fired up the blower just now as we speak. But basically, this is what everybody was asking for. They were asking for something very similar to Vox Machinae, and we finally got it. Now, the question is, does Vox Machinae live up to all of our dreams and all of our aspirations for this kind of a game? And I feel like it does in certain ways, but not in every way. It's kind of like when I first got Vox Machinae, I was really blown away by the thing, and I was jumping in it repeatedly over and over again. I wanted to play this. Even though this was multiplayer, I kept wanting to go into it and play it. And I like the visuals, I like the graphics, these different kind of alien worlds that they put you in. The one kind of problem I had is I kind of wish there was a little bit of a single player. It's like everybody wanted, you know, when it came to Archangel, everybody wanted multiplayer, and then they gave us that with Archangel Hellfire. Vox Machinae, it's kind of the exact opposite. A lot of people wish there was some single player added. But like one of the beautiful things they do with Vox Machinae is the way the controls are and the way your HUD is set up. You kind of have that little virtual lady that's up there in the corner. She keeps talking to you. You have your different controls that are in the game. You're looking around in your cockpit. It's all done so very well. And a lot of us got Vox Machinae like right when it came out, and we were playing it all the time. Now, it kind of fell apart, though, in certain ways because the combat, basically one of the things I noticed about the combat is, I don't know, I personally felt like I wasn't getting better, and it was just kind of a situation where it's just a matter of how many missiles am I shooting at this guy. And it kind of reminded me of Scraper in the fact, do you guys remember when I was talking about Scraper, and I felt like when you had an enemy that you were going up against in Scraper, you're just like shoot, 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 and they're shoot, 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 shoot. And it's like, who's going to win this battle? Who's ultimately going to survive? It's the guy that hit the shot button a few times extra and was, you know, hammering on that shot button a little bit more than the other guy. And I kind of felt like that's how things worked out in Vox Machinae. It kind of turned into that, where it's like, I didn't know, like, where's the strategy of this game? And I'm sure there's going to be a Vox Machinae expert that is going to come on here. And, you know, there's a Vox Machinae expert that's going to be like, no, man, you don't understand. There is a subtlety to it. You got to hide behind a mountain, and then you hover up and you fire real quick, and then you hide behind a mountain. And you know, you got to activate your shields at this certain time, or you got to do this, or you got to do that. But I kind of felt that's where it fell apart. Like, I don't know that there's somebody that's a master of Vox Machinae that is really battling well, and it kind of felt like a crapshoot in terms of the multiplayer thing. And so that's kind of why I stopped playing Vox Machinae, to be completely honest with you about that. But then, again, a lot of it, I'm sure you guys hear that. Everybody says they don't ever hear any noise. You gotta hear that, right? I mean, come on, everybody hears that. So we can go ahead and pump up this background soundtrack here on Vox.
The Pilot. Customizable loadouts.
I'll wait for just a second here till Job gets into a different spot. But what I'll do here is I can go ahead and back up and check out some of the comments that we got. Trying to wait for Job to move a little bit away from here. Yeah, that is Job. Job is making his presence known in a major, major way. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back here into chat. And, well, we've already kind of covered. I'm gonna go ahead and lower the volume now. Okay, so we've already basically covered Jet Island as far as chat goes. Greg's VR says it's the Johnny Utah voice. Yeah, it is a little bit of that. Point Break, yeah, Johnny Utah, or Bill and Ted. It is a little bit of that. Okay, you can't compare Jet Island and Windlands 2 until you fight multiple bosses in both. That is true. That is true. And I have not fought multiple bosses in Jet Island, so definitely that. John Bardo says Jet Island is cool. And then Main Fan says, Anth has to climb out of a pile of S to play the good games. I wonder what S stands for. Paradise K says, I cannot keep up with all the new releases. Yeah, there just is a lot of games that come out all the time. It makes it difficult. Okay, so Kevgret here, he's talking about Creed, and he says, Creed has such a poorly implemented single player. It just ends. Kind of made no sense. The gym portions were good, but that's about it. See, another aspect of Creed is I never really got into the whole training aspect of it. Like, the training stuff was just kind of okay, but I wanted to be in the real rings and have the lights and the camera and feel like, you know, I'm in Madison Square Garden doing a real fight. Paradise Decay says, Anthony gets sweaty playing Yoga VR. I've never played Yoga VR. In fact, I get more sweaty if I put the video of Yoga VR on this show. I would start to get sweaty because of that, because I would be worried that everybody would consider me some kind of perv or something. I can't even put Yoga VR on the screen. No way, no how. And Hussein X says, I hardly sweat that much, even when exercising hard. Chris Richardson says the Woozer strap is $120 and ships free with 2-day delivery. Cheapest haptic add-on for immersion. Works with Oculus Go in wired mode. Watched Mad Max Fury Road and the War Boys rocked the strap. Okay, yeah, that's that Woozer strap thing. And Chris Richardson, you know, he is a guy that we can trust. But he's kind of jumping in with his endorsement of the Woozer strap. That seems like something Main Fan would order. Main Fan, you haven't ordered this yet? You are slipping, bro, because it seems like Main Fan got a Vive and Chill. Main Fan buys all of this stuff. Main Fan, where's your review on the Woozer strap? Because I don't know, I feel like Main Fan is always trying to increase his immersion a little bit. Like, I think the other day, we were talking in the Discord server and somebody was posting pictures of like a racing seat and kind of like butt kickers, you know, those speakers that kind of rumble your seat for the racing cars. And Main Fan was like, yeah, I got a couple butt kickers as well. You know, Main Fan is always going for that immersion. Okay, Kev Gret says, so many people think this is exercise, but they can't even walk/run a mile. Okay, so Kev Gret, you're one of those where you poo-poo on other people doing their limited amount of exercise. But honestly, I'm telling you, man, just get up off the couch and move around. That's why VR and AR is a beautiful thing. And I think AR is going to be much better for this in the future, is that we saw that one AR video where this guy was on like an electronic skateboard and he was like on Santa Monica Pier and he was collecting coins like he was in Mario, and it was in real life and all these people were walking around and he was dodging them and he was collecting coins. That's why I think AR is going to be a big deal for exercise, because you could go on a nice walk, and as you're walking along, you know, you could be on your walk and you're just walking around your park, but maybe they have like little UFOs that are flying around and every once in a while you have to shoot them. Okay, Job got a bit closer here. Now I believe he turned it off, so he's probably switching over to the lawnmower there, so we might get a little bit of break. Let's see. Hussein X says, LOL at PD. He sweats with anxiety of getting caught by wife and kids. Yeah, that's basically the truth there. No, I sweat with anxiety by putting on a... Like, even if I put on, like, God, what was that? What's that boxing game that they have, or we have a trailer for that? It's a little bit sketchy as well. Or like the Vive and Chill. Like, I get a little bit of anxiety and sweats if I put on the Vive and Chill trailer, because I kind of start to feel like I'm a dirty old man or something. It's just not right. Okay, Jay says, I don't know, arms ache after 30 minutes with in-depth more than when I do yoga. And Mad Wookie says, this is the only multiplayer boxing, talking about Creed again. Crunchy says, exercise can be many different things as long as you are burning calories. And Sash the Dash, checking in from Deutschland, says Spark is the best exercise. I love Spark. Spark is an awesome game, but here's my question for Sash the Dash. Okay, the problem with Spark, you're really just using one arm, right? You're basically just using, like, you're exercising one arm. So I don't know how much exercise that can be if you're just using basically one arm, and Spark is pretty much one arm. So I feel like it's only exercising one arm. But I love Spark. I think Spark is crazy underrated. And Jay says 11 table tennis works up a sweat too. Paradise says, well, I used to go to the gym and I used to kickbox, and I get those same sensations playing boxing games in VR. You can still feel the burn in your arms. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that you will notice in some of these games where they make you like use your arms to like move around the world, like in Sprint Vector or Vindictor or whatever. You start to notice after a little while that maybe it's a bad idea to make you move your arms around so much. Or what game was it? I was playing something where you kind of like, you're kind of leaving your arms up here to like do something. And I felt like, you know, after a while, it takes a lot of energy to just keep your arms up here. Like, it doesn't seem like it would take, like, just keep your arms up there for like 5 minutes and you'll feel it after a while. So that's kind of a lot of the talk in terms of workouts that we're talking about with Creed. Okay, so I'm going to try to scroll down here and see if we can get some Vox Machinae comments. Arm weights could injure you in a boxing or Beat Saber game. Yeah, some people were talking about if you want even more of an exercise, get those like wrist weights that you can put on your wrist. Oops, just banged into my mic here. Okay, so I'm trying to get into some Vox Machinae discussion, and Hussein X says, I very much liked Archangel's single player, yet to play Hellfire multiplayer, but he does say that Vox Machinae has been a top 4 seller for weeks on the Oculus Store, which is awesome. I'm very glad for Space Bullet. I hope they make enough money to, you know, to be able to continue to make additional games. And T-Dub said, you heard his yoga confession here first. Absolutely. But I was trying to see if I could get into some more Vox Machinae discussion. They're talking about butt kickers. My butt kicker makes me take out the trash. Gee, I wonder what kind of butt kicker that is. Absolutely. Spark is great. That's Alexander Ritter. I play it every day for 30 minutes with a friend. It is our exercise. Yeah, Spark is good exercise. Phil Yarn says, I only played Vox twice. Ah, man. So I wonder if Phil Yarn kind of came to the same conclusion that a lot of the rest of us did, where it just didn't feel. And Crunchy says, I want Job to burst through the door one day. Yeah, that may happen at some point. But I wonder if some of you guys feel the same way as far as Vox Machinae, where it just felt like skill wasn't really part of it, where it almost feels like you're just kind of wishing on a prayer, and it's just how many little Sidewinder missiles are you firing at that other mech, and you know 2 or 3 mechs gang up on you, and it is a teamwork thing. You know, you got to work as a team. And so, you know, teamwork is part of it. But yeah, Vox Machinae, I don't know. It seemed like it was going to be a really, really, really big deal. And I haven't been into it in a long, long time. Okay, so those are the games that we have for the month of September. So let me go ahead and pop onto the screen here a list of all 6 of these September games, now that we've gone through all of them. So these are the best games of September for 2018. We have Windlands 2, Transference Blind, and we've also added Jet Island, Creed Rise to Glory, and Vox Machinae. So those are the 6 big games of September. And the real question I have for you guys at this point is, what is your best game of September? Like, I know what mine is. For me, it's a battle of 2. There are 2 games, and then there's a third that, you know, special consideration, but it's really 2 games for me. It's basically Windlands 2 and Transference. That's what it is, with special consideration to Jet Island. Apologies again for the noise, as it will kick up and go away a little bit as we continue to move along here. Main Fan had soldier surgery due to over 25 years of lifting. It happens. That would suck. soldier surgery would really suck. Luckily I've been able to avoid all kinds of surgeries, so I've kind of gotten out of that. Now Paradise Decay says my money is on Windlands 2. That's good money right there. That's good money, Paradise. I feel like your money is safe. Windlands 2 is a freaking masterful game in my opinion. And yeah, I'm kind of thinking Windlands 2 is taking this month of September. But I will agree that the level of competition in the month of September is pretty fierce. I definitely agree with that. Okay, so that is our September game discussion. As we continue to have a lot of background noise, my apologies for that. I'd like to go to some trailers right now where I completely remove my microphone from the equation and then we eliminate all background noise, but I don't have any trailers to go to, unfortunately. I didn't notice anything big new that was going on out there. But what we can do now is we can go ahead and switch over to our web browser setup here, and we could try to just take a look at some of the latest, greatest news stories that have been hitting the different websites. This, of course, is Upload VR. I'll go ahead and refresh this. And so the #1 story they have right now on Upload VR is that Google's Daydream 6 DoF controllers are now shipping to developers. So yeah, Google is going to get involved in the 6 DoF situation with standalone headset and 6 DoF controllers. That's where Oculus Quest is heading. The question that we have, of course, for the Google Daydream platform is, are they going to relaunch a new kind of a Daydream that puts it all together with the 6 DoF controllers? And will it be able to compete in any kind of major way with the Oculus Quest? Because in the grand scheme of things, this is kind of Google and Facebook, and they are major competitors with one another. All these companies that are out there, they all see this as the next battleground. VR and AR is the next battleground for a lot of these companies. And basically, you know, companies that missed out on the cell phone revolution, like Microsoft, for example, you know, they just missed out on the entire smartphone era, and they don't have a legitimate play. They don't have a legitimate play in the smartphone era. So they're all looking to get in on VR and AR as this next major revolution in computing. And so Google, they're going to have their competitor to the Oculus Quest. So they are shipping these 6 DoF controllers, but the problem is what they're going to have to do is they're going to kind of have to reintroduce a new Daydream with 6 degrees of freedom controllers and then a lot of different experiences that work with it to try to entice people to go down the Daydream road. They definitely have their work cut out for them. Another major news that we have here is Oculus on the ZeniMax lawsuit. We're pleased to put this behind us and continuing building the future of VR. So apparently, and apologies again, I apologize for the background noise. Unfortunately, yeah, the background noise, this is a Wednesday reality, and it seems to me like I need to change the time of this show, because the time of my show and the time of Job's arrival, it is nearly synced perfectly. Like it's a perfect sync between Job arriving to mow my lawns and to blow things around and me doing this show. And that's kind of, I used to do this show at 10 a.m. and Job used to come every day at 10 a.m. Then I switched my show to 11 a.m. and then Job started coming at 11 a.m. I could switch this to noon and then Job will start arriving at noon. That's just kind of the way it is. But let's go ahead and check out this ZeniMax lawsuit thing. So the way I understand this is Facebook/Oculus have reached some kind of agreement with ZeniMax. And basically the idea here is they've come to some type of agreement, because this was just going to remain in court for years and years and years, because Oculus would just keep appealing any kind of a ruling, and it was just it would remain in court for like another decade. And so Facebook/Oculus has worked behind the scenes with some executives at ZeniMax to figure out a way to, like, how can we make this whole thing go away? You know, how much money would it take for us to make this entire thing just go away so we could just forget about this and we don't have this dark cloud that is hanging over our heads. And the ZeniMax lawyers probably wrote down on a piece of paper how much money it's going to take, and they passed it across the table to Zuck. And Zuck looked at that figure and probably laughed. And then he was like, yeah, no, this figure's not going to work. And then so Zuck wrote down a figure on a piece of paper and passed it across the table over to the ZeniMax executives. And then they looked at that piece of paper and they were like, really, Zuck? Come on, you could do better than that. And basically it kind of went back and forth like that. They finally agreed on a certain figure, and basically they've decided to sweep all of this under the table. And that's probably great for every party involved. Ultimately, this is a great thing. So here is the statement that we have. I believe this is from Robert Altman, ZeniMax chairman and CEO. And he says, "We are pleased that a settlement has been reached and are fully satisfied by the outcome. While we dislike litigation," sure you do, ZeniMax, you really dislike litigation. You guys love litigation. In fact, if you look at the history of ZeniMax, it's all about litigation. That's where ZeniMax came from. So anyways, while he says here, while we dislike litigation, we will always vigorously defend against any infringement or misappropriation of our intellectual property by third parties, reads a statement from Robert Altman, ZeniMax chairman and CEO. And then we have Oculus spokesperson Tara Randall. In an email, she wrote, "We're pleased to put this behind us and continue building the future of VR." So that's kind of how everything shook out of this. Now, we recently had that news story that John Carmack, he reached his own settlement with ZeniMax, and he was able to put all of that behind him, and he was able to get away from having, a dark cloud hovering over his head. So John Carmack was able to get away from all of that, and that has also led to this. So I believe all of this was probably going on simultaneously, both working out agreements, how to put all of this behind ourselves, and definitely some money definitely exchanged hands. I'm sure ZeniMax got some cash out of this whole deal. Probably not as much as they would have liked to have gotten out of it, but it costs a lot of money for ZeniMax as well. Showing up to all these legal proceedings, and it's just a major headache. So they all kind of worked it out. So that's how that happened. That is kind of major story, actually. So going through the rest of these news stories here, it says, new report uses VR to unearth hidden pollution along U.S. border. Okay, don't really care about that too much. Yeah, VR Chat. VR Chat is finally available on the Oculus Store. I tried to go into VR Chat one single time, and it didn't really work. I was like floating outside of where everybody was, and it just didn't work right. And I've never gone back into VR Chat since that time. But this really isn't my bag. Like, VR Chat isn't my bag. I'm not into anime characters. I'm not really into dancing around. So VR Chat isn't really a thing for me. Not into it. I know a lot of people love and swear by VR Chat, and they think it's the best thing ever. But not for me. Okay, so I've bounced over here to Road to VR. They're doing a 12 Days of Rift sweepstakes where you could possibly win yourself a brand new Oculus Rift. And then ViewR lets you watch a VR session in action from the comfort of blah, blah, blah. Let's check this out. From the comfort of your phone. Okay, so this looks like an app on your phone where you can kind of check out how somebody's playing a VR game. Maybe actually from inside the game. That's actually kind of cool if that's the way this is. It says it is... ViewR is available as a Unity SDK that developers can include in the VR games for free, but individual gamers can also run the ViewR PC installer to add the functionality to an existing game too. To date, the studio has modded ViewR into Super Hot VR, Beat Saber, and budget cuts. And so, okay, this is a trailer where it kind of shows you. I could probably grab this trailer real quick. Let me go to YouTube. And I'll just grab this real quick, and then we can check it out in the show. Oh, man, I got to open up 4K video downloader real fast here. I think Job might have left. So I think all of the noise is behind us now, although the show is pretty much behind us as well. But I believe Job has left the building. Okay, so I'm going back over here. Let me back out of this, or actually close this out here. And let's go back to Road to VR. And so yeah, Beat Games. First song pack for Beat Saber could arrive on PSVR this something. So of course we have to click on it. Okay, this month. That's when it's going to arrive. The first pack for Beat Saber. All tracks are ready. We are now mapping the levels. That is Beat Saber on Twitter. And so that is in the news. But I went ahead and I was able to get this video. So let's go ahead and check out this little trailer about using our phones to check out actual VR game footage from within the VR game. So let's go ahead and check this out. Spectating super hot VR with ViewR. Let's check this out.
Can edit that out later. Fix it in post. Oh, don't get away. That's the fan, it's there somewhere.
So not the most exciting video here, but it does give us kind of, you know, I mean, we get the idea. And this is what I've always thought like VR trailers should be. Like, why don't VR trailer, like why don't we have a standard for VR trailers where we should be seeing trailers in VR? And this is exactly how it should work. Is you're basically, it's like they put you into the game standing behind somebody playing the game. So you just stand behind somebody playing the game and you watch the person play the game. But you're inside the world as well. You can look around from inside the VR game world. And that's basically what they're doing here, but it's for tablets and phones. And so you can kind of like get inside the game with somebody. You kind of move your tablet around and you can kind of see the world that they're in. You can also do it with your phone. So that's a cool technology. But what I would prefer to see is some kind of standardized VR trailer. I can't believe we are practically in the year 2019. I mean, we are mere days away from the year 2019. VR started in April and in March and April of 2016. It's been a number of years, and we still don't have some kind of standard VR trailer for viewing trailers in VR, which I think could really make it really cool in terms of viewing trailers in VR. The only thing that we've seen so far is Runes VR had that interactive VR trailer where it kind of puts you in the game. It wasn't really a trailer. What they did was they basically put you in the game engine and they kind of edited little gameplay snippets from within the game engine and made that a trailer. And I thought that was a great idea. I really liked the Runes VR interactive trailer. Speaking of Runes VR, never ever played it. Never ever played that game. You know what we could do actually is we could go over, let's go back to our web browser here thing, and we could check out and see like, how is Runes VR? Like, is it doing well? I don't know. Let's look up Runes VR. Because, yeah, that's a game that I missed. Okay, that's the interactive trailer. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And Stormborn Studio is the developer of Runes VR. So I think if I click on this one, it'll take us to it. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is Runes The Forgotten Path. This came out back on November 14th. Reviews are positive. You know, 21 reviews. They are positive. It is $25. You can grab the soundtrack for another $5. But yeah, I've never been in this game. I thought it looked pretty cool. Tried to get a key for the game, didn't get a key, and all my money. So you guys might ask, in fact, I think 10.6, where is 10.6? Because I believe there is somebody named 10.6 that comes into our chat every once in a while, and I think he gets kind of pissed off about like me and Paradise and a lot of other people getting free games. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I get the impression that he's like, you don't buy your games, man. You get all your games. And here's the voice again. Dude, you don't buy your games, man. You get all your games free. You never pay for anything. Yeah, I know you're kind of like a YouTuber, and you kind of do this YouTube stuff, and you're like doing a show every day, but you get all your games free. You never pay for anything. So you don't know what it's like, man, to be a real gamer and have to pay real money. You're not even supporting the industry. You're just getting your games for free, man. That's kind of how I feel that 10-6 thinks about like me in Paradise and like the other guys on VR Roundtable and stuff. We get all these keys for free, and I kind of feel like he feels that way. And so I'm going to respond to that belief, okay? And here's my take on that. My take on that is every penny that I have is like my spare pennies are going towards hardware. It's going towards hardware. So no, I'm not going to buy this game. I'm not going to buy Runes VR. I'm not going to take 25 bucks of my money, 25 bucks cash money, and buy Runes VR, because that 25 bucks is going to an MSI motherboard. Yes, right after this show today, in fact, I am going to hop into my car and I'm going to drive my butt over to Fry's Electronics, and I am going to buy a brand new X470 MSI motherboard. And that's where my 25 bucks is going. And my 25 bucks is also going to the 16 gigs of 3000 speed memory or whatever, the memory that I'm getting. And it's going to go to the thermal paste that I'm getting. And it's going to go to the Fractal Design PC case that I just got. And even if I had all this shit paid for, I've got cameras to buy. I've got lighting to buy. I've got improved mics to buy. So I'll tell anybody and everybody out there, no, I'm not spending none of my money on any game. No, it's not happening, because every little penny of my money is going towards hardware related shit. And it's not going to me like partying with cokes and hooker. It's not me partying with hookers and coke in Las Vegas. I'm not hopping on a plane and going to Vegas and hookers and coke and all the hookers and coke that you could possibly imagine, like Tony Montana in Scarface with a gigantic mountain of cocaine sitting on my desk. No, that is not happening. My money is going towards hardware. Because guess what? I don't get any free hardware. I've never gotten a free NVIDIA card. I've never gotten a free motherboard. I've never gotten a free Ryzen CPU. I don't get any hardware. Now, every once in a blue moon, I do get free games. And I am blessed as hell to get these free games. But all of my real deal money is going towards hardware. So 10-6, hopefully that answers your question about like I'm not really supporting the industry and I just get all these free games. That's absolutely true. I mean, it's true in a certain way. I think I'm supporting the hell out of this industry, though, by giving all this free publicity to all these different games and kind of spreading the word and talking about what the best games are and all of that. I am doing that, but like I'm trying to improve my PC right now, and I'm doing it for you, man. I'm doing it for you, man. No, seriously, though, I really am. I'm trying to improve my PC experience so that when I get into these games, it's not like I want to know what these real games are and not have like PC issues clouding my judgment. So that's why I'm trying to improve my PC. I'm paying all this money. Dude, I'm paying thousands of dollars. Like ultimately this PC, I started off getting the 1080 Ti. That was like 415 bucks or 420 bucks or whatever. Got a great deal, incredible deal on that used 1080 Ti, but that was money. Then I bought a new power supply. That was like 100 and something. Then I bought a SSD and I kept buying all these things. Well, now ultimately I'm basically building a new entire computer from scratch. And you know what? I need to do a show. I need to do a show on exactly how much money I spent on this new beast. that could actually be its own episode unto itself, because we may be near the $2,000 mark. Like, I may be close to paying damn near $2,000 by the time it's all said and done, and I buy like another SSD and, you know, any other little item I need, and I got to get this HD 60 Pro capture card so I can have really good PSVR capture, so it's at 1080p PSVR capture, and it doesn't have those curved video look to it. By the time I'm all set and done, it might be $2,000, and I'm doing it for you, baby. I really am. I'm doing it for you guys, so that eventually I won't have to cry about, you know, don't cry for me, Argentina. I won't have to cry about my PC not being up to snuff. I'll just be judging the games on whether they're good or not, and the PC hopefully will not factor into it too much, you know? So that's kind of my thought process on that. So I didn't really mean to go down that road, but oh well, I did. Okay, what else can we get into? Well, we can of course head back to our Webby browser window here, and we can go ahead and check out the subreddits and see what the latest news is on the subreddits. Let me go ahead and upfresh this. This is the Vive subreddit. Let's see what the latest news is. And Variety does have a story. I probably should have went to their story about ZeniMax and Facebook have reached an undisclosed settlement. Now, Facebook is a public company, like they're publicly traded, like Facebook is a public company. ZeniMax, I believe, is a privately held company. So I don't believe ZeniMax ever has to reveal what was in this settlement, but I think Facebook at some point is actually going to have to reveal this, right? I think this will eventually come to light, exactly how much money did change hands and where it went to. I believe that will eventually come to light. Now, another thing that is going on is this Odin Steam VR headset, and I don't think too many of us out there are going to run out there to buy a Russian-made VR headset. No disrespect to Russia or anybody of Russian descent, but we don't normally think of Russia when we think of hardware manufacturers for like a VR headset. So I don't think anybody's like too hyped on this VR headset here. Although the interesting thing is that it is a Steam VR headset. So it is showing us that there are lots of other companies that can make a Steam VR headset. So that is something to know about. I mean, that's good. It's a good thing because it means more and more Steam VR headsets can start trickling out, even if they're from some very small companies, and maybe we can't trust them always, but oh well. Contractors. Main fan was telling me I'm saying this wrong. I don't know. You hire a contractor, right? Like if you want to get a new deck belt on the back of your house, you hire a contractor. Is that wrong? Contractor? I don't know. Whatever. I don't give a damn. Okay. Slightly Heroes. Yeah, Slightly Heroes did come out the other day. Actually, why don't we see what the price is for Slightly Heroes? I don't know if I ever reported on that. Slightly Heroes. And Paradise Decay. If you are in chat right now, you play everything. Have you played Slightly Heroes? What is your thought on this? A casual multiplayer shooter for VR. The reviews are positive, not very many reviews. The normal price is $10, but it's going for $8. It does have a colorful kind of an art style, but for some reason, okay, so this is multiplayer, right? Okay, you can battle solo or versus friends. When I look at this video footage, you know what it reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of Zombie Riot, which was kind of a mediocre game. I don't know. For some reason, I'm looking at this footage and I think of Zombie Riot, which I believe originally was on the Oculus Rift, and then it later came to Steam. Does look pretty colorful. Kind of looks like it's kind of, you know, it's going for kind of an Overwatch, Incredibles kind of an art style a little bit here. Slightly Heroes. You know, looks kind of cool. I mean, for $8, doesn't look like it would be maybe too bad. The reviews are kind of positive. That is Slightly Heroes. Not sure if Paradise actually got his hands on that, but that is out there. So let's go ahead and go back over here to our Vive subreddit. Just trying to see if there's anything else that's going on. Well, we could go ahead and check out the Oculus subreddit real quick. So let me just type that in. There's no sound, guys. Yeah, Job has left the building. It got all quiet all of a sudden. Okay, so ZeniMax settles Facebook lawsuit, or Facebook settles ZeniMax lawsuit, whichever one you want to buy into here. Oh, you know, somebody in chat was talking about Blade and Sorcery, and they were basically saying, Anthony, you're crazy. I love Blade and Sorcery. Who was that? Somebody in chat was talking about Blade and... I think it was Dr. Freeman, I presume. Yeah, Dr. Freeman, way back in chat, was saying I must be crazy to say what I said about Blade and Sorcery. So here's the thing, Dr. Freeman. Look, Blade and Sorcery is not horrible. I never said it was horrible. Blade and Sorcery is decent. It is a decent game, and it's $20, which is a decent price. My biggest problem with Blade and Sorcery is once you get beyond that honeymoon stage of like, oh, these physics are really cool. Once you get beyond all of that, I think you're going to be bored as hell. So my take, Dr. Freeman, is get back to me in about 3 or 4 days. Are you still into Blade and Sorcery 3 or 4 days later? I feel like it's a fun afternoon for $20 with some really good physics. I feel like it's a nice tech demo. But I don't see it as like a legit game that has any kind of lasting power whatsoever. And, you know, but everybody has their own opinions. So other people are going to disagree. But that's kind of my take on Blade and Sorcery. But I believe Dr. Freeman, I guess he's not in chat anymore because he hasn't weighed in here yet. But yeah, no, I wasn't blown away by Blade and Sorcery. Curious if anybody else, like MameFan says, Blade and Sorcery isn't great. Yeah, decent. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way I feel about it. It's decent. It's okay. I think there's better play. Like, I would rather have 10 Hearts, honestly, than Blade and Sorcery. I'd rather have Transpose than Blade and Sorcery. There's a lot of $10. Like, I think Jet Island is $10, right? I'd rather have Jet Island than Blade and... There's a ton of $20 games I'd rather have than Blade and Sorcery. Now, Sash the Dash says, wait a minute here. Blade and Sorcery is early access. There's great potential. Okay, me and early access, we don't get along so well. Oh, look at this. VR Roundtable review of Scraper First Strike. Not really a review. It's kind of a couple of guys' very initial takes of First Strike. But I'm glad you guys made a thread for this. You know, Labradex Studios, I'm glad you guys made a thread for that. You know, because we did kind of like it for the most part. So that's cool to see that. But what was I talking about here? Man, I completely lost my train of thought now. Oh, Gun Club VR is 50% off today. That's not too shabby. Let's go ahead and click on this and see what the price is. What is 50% off? What is... Oh, $10. So you could grab Gun Club VR for $10. This is a game that has occasionally shown up on like the HTC Vive Top 200, the Oculus Rift Top 200. Not normally cracking the top 100, but I have seen this shown up in like the 120s, the 130s, the 140s. Never, ever have I played Gun Club VR, but I know there are some people that are really into it. Oh, the Gun Club VR is by Binary Mill? Those are the Rush guys. Yeah, the Binary Mill. These are the guys that make Rush. So they've made Gun Club VR and Rush. So pretty decent developer, you know, pretty solid developer there. And $10, not a bad deal there if you've been looking to grab the Gun Club. Sphere's Pale Blue Dot is an amazing look at the potential for VR in education. This is by VR Gamer Dude. You know what? And I agree. I absolutely agree. I liked all of Spheres. There were 3 different sections of Spheres. You had like Songs of Space Time. You had... there was another one, and then there's Pale Blue Dot. And I actually found Pale Blue Dot the most enjoyable. I thought it was the most impressive of the bunch. Although I think Gary from VR Roundtable, I think he was the exact opposite. I think he felt like Pale Blue Dot was the worst of the 3. I actually felt it was the best of the 3, and I really enjoyed Pale Blue Dot. And yeah, Spheres is $10. It's $10, but I think it's pretty damn good. I was really impressed by Spheres overall. So there is that. And we can check out the PSVR subreddit real quick before we check out of here. I'm just kind of enjoying the silence ever since Job has left. And so let's check out the PSVR subreddit real quick here. Beat Saber CEO. The first song pack is hopefully ready by the end of the year. So a lot of people are wondering about that. By far the best gaming experience I have ever had in my life. PSVR has completely changed the way I view video games as a whole. Thank you, Sony. Oh, guess what? You know, one of the things that we can talk about today, let me actually switch over to my standard view here. And why don't I put on a PSVR game, since I'm going to talk about PSVR for a quick second here. I have another thing I can talk about, ladies and gentlemen-bots. So I'll grab a, actually, why don't, let me see if I can go to my folder here. I was looking for the little Astrobot montage I made, which was all these different clips of Astrobot, but I don't remember where I put it at. And never mind. I'll just grab a miscellaneous trailer for a PSVR game. Okay, how about Bow to Blood? We'll just throw on Bow to Blood for a second here. So guess what, guys? So these are brand new, brand spanking new, never been used PlayStation Move controllers. And this is a brand new, well, no, it has been used. I used it one time. I basically used it last night. This is version 2 of the PlayStation VR system. Now, I've had a version 2 of the PlayStation VR system sitting in a brand new box for a very long time. I was going to use it for a different kind of a project. That project has been put on hold, and I figured, why am I slumming it? Why am I slumming it with version 1 of PlayStation VR when I got a brand new shiny PSVR 2 just waiting for me over here? And I already sold Skyrim out of it because I didn't really need the physical version of Skyrim, so I let that go. And so I lowered my cost basis on this puppy even further. But you know what the most wonderful thing about version 2 is? Look at this cord, baby. Look at how thin this cord is. It's like hardly a cord at all. It is so nice. This is so much better, folks. I've just been using this for one day, but I really, really like it because they improve the cord by leaps and bounds. Because one of the biggest problems that I've ever had with the very first version of PSVR is you got these cords, especially when you're standing up and you're playing it, you got these cords that are dangling down your back and they're kind of swaying around and they're heavy and they're thick, and it's got this connector thing and there's like a square thing that is hanging down back by your calves or whatever. I mean, depending how tall you are, maybe it's like almost hanging on the ground. But PSVR version 1, not very elegant at all with the cord. And so I've been playing some PSVR 2, works really nicely. You know, the volume controls are right underneath here instead of having that little thing that's hanging down there. There is one concern, though. One concern that I have with it here is you plug your headphones in right here. And so depending on how your headphone jack is, like this cord is very close to where your headphone jack goes. And it's not a problem for me right now, but I can kind of imagine you could have some type of headphone that plugs in there that doesn't work out really good. But yeah, just barely got this. Now, MainFan has talked about the comfort of this thing. And I do feel like there's a difference between this headset and the first one. I think it's a tiny bit smaller. I've always said that the very first version of PSVR, it's like a pillow on my head, and it really is. It's very much like a pillow. It is so nice and so cushiony. You know, it just feels like a pillow on me. This one doesn't quite feel like a pillow. It feels like it's a little bit gripping my head a little bit harder. I don't know. It feels like it's a tiny bit smaller, but I think I'll go ahead and adapt to that and get used to it. But Also, one of the interesting things about this is the power button is right underneath here, which is kind of weird because one of the things I always heard with PlayStation VR, one of the tips that I heard, if you have version 1 of PlayStation VR, people would say have it on a flat surface, like have it sitting down on a flat surface, turn your PSVR on and leave it there for 10 seconds sitting on a flat level surface. That's what people said about version 1. Like they said, don't pick up version 1 and turn it on as you're moving it around and stuff, because when initially it turns on, it can kind of screw up the tracking a little bit if it isn't just sitting on a flat surface. And so I got into this habit where every time I turned on PSVR 1, I would have it on a nice flat surface just sitting there, and then I would hit the power button that was like on a little dongle down here, and I would leave it just sitting there for like 10 seconds, and then I would pick it up and I'd start moving it around. Well, you can't do that with version 2 because you can't have this on a flat surface and turn the power button on. It's kind of impossible. It's impossible to do that. So I guess this doesn't have the same problems that it has with version 1 in terms of like getting it, you know, situated with tracking and all of that. And that was kind of an urban myth anyway. It was like an old wives' tale about leaving your PSVR 1 sitting there, turn it on, do all of that. But the main reason that I broke out my version 2 is I was playing my version 1 last night. I was trying to record some gameplay footage. I want to start bringing you guys Let's Plays, and I've been experimenting with that. And I actually got into Astrobot, and I was playing some Astrobot, and I thought, you know, let me do a Let's Play of Astrobot. I could play some of my favorite levels and just kind of rant and rave about how freaking amazing Astrobot is. And let me go ahead and record this footage, and, you know, I can pop out a Let's Play like that, right? And one of the problems I kept having was my audio. My audio kept cutting out. Those of you that have PlayStation version 1, do you ever have audio problems? Like, are you ever playing a PSVR game and then for like 5 seconds you have no audio, and then the audio comes back on, and then you're playing the game, and then for 3 seconds you have no audio, and then the audio comes back on? Constant audio dropouts. I was always getting these audio dropouts, and so people on the PSVR subreddit, they said, look, here's what you want to do. Go into your settings and turn off like HDCP or whatever. Like turn that off, and then you'll no longer have dropouts. Well, I turned that off. I deactivated the HDCP, and it would work a little bit, but then I would still get dropouts here. I'd still get dropouts there. So turning off HDCP does not guarantee you're not going to have problems with audio dropouts. But I started thinking in my head, and I said, wait a minute. Version 2 has a completely different processor box. It's completely different. It's a different processor box altogether. And I thought, you know what? I bet you version 2 has solved the audio dropout problem. I bet you there's no audio dropouts with version 2. So I said, the hell with it, man. I'm getting my version 2 out. Oh, and there's my new box over there. Oh, you guys can't see it because it's just showing my new PSVR box. It's the Skyrim. But I got out the version 2, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to have no more audio dropouts. And this is beautiful because if I'm going to record PSVR footage, you don't want, like, I'm doing a Let's Play, and then all of a sudden the sound cuts out for 3 seconds, and then I'm playing it more, and the sound cuts out for 3 seconds, and all this stuff. Hell no. Okay, wait a minute. LG, do we have breaking news? Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. LG's VR HMD has been spotted. Oh my God, I'm starving and I need a banana, and I'm about to eat one of these things. No, these are brand new, guys. And isn't it lovely when you get a brand new controller? Like, how awesome. Just, I love touching brand new controllers. Like, it just has that brand new feel. Like, every button is so crisp and nice. These things have never been used. They've never been touched by human fingers, and they're so nice and so brand new. I really like that. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and head to the news channels and let's see. Is there information about this LG thing? VR Focus. Oh God, really? It's probably some made up story. I really don't play around with VR Focus. You guys have never seen me go to VR Focus. And the reason why is because they don't have any inside news. They make it up. Let's go ahead and refresh Upload VR. 10 things we can't wait to do in Borderlands 2 VR. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. Let's go to Road to VR and let's go up to here and refresh Road to VR. I guess this is refreshed. I'm not seeing anything about LG on Road to VR. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really go to VR Focus. Let's go ahead and go back to the Vive subreddit and see if there's anything updated on there. Okay, we're going back to the Vive subreddit. Let's go ahead and refresh this. And I'm scrolling down here, seeing if I see anything about LG. Not really seeing anything here. Let's go to new posts. Or let's see, this is what? On fire. Which one's new? Never mind. Anthony should do infomercials. Anthony Livestream audio is dropping from time to time. Is it? Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, look. I'll go to VR Focus. This is not something I would normally do here. VR Focus. I feel like VR Focus is as good as VR game rankings. Like they don't have any real information, do they? Okay, so let's let VR Focus load up here. I hate their website. I hate it. Like you move around everywhere, a million different things pop up. Okay, so LG files patent for VR headset with haptic feedback and 6 cameras. Really? Okay, I'll click on your story as much as I don't want to. Hand tracking belt directly into the headset. Hey, that is something I've talked about. That is definitely something I've talked about. Hand tracking belt in directly into the headset. This is something that we should have. I really do. I really do believe like every VR headset that comes out in 2019 or 2020, it should have hand tracking built in. Like you should be able to give a VR headset to somebody, they should be able to put it on, and they should be able to do a lot of shit without ever grabbing a controller. Now, I'm not saying don't have a controller, absolutely have a controller, but there should be hand tracking built into these things. I'm really disappointed by the fact that Oculus Quest does not have built-in hand tracking. I mean, it kind of does, but not really. But anyway, this is spotted by the ever-reliable Let's Go Digital. LG Electronics filed a patent, blah, 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 blah. As you can see from the image below, this is for 2 components in particular, 6 cameras in dual sets, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and 2 in the upper middle with haptic sensors placed in between each lens. Haptic sensors inside the headset? For what? All the cameras are designed to track a user's hands in a virtual space, while the haptic sensors will provide feedback when touching objects. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, so you're like touching a soccer ball and stuff. So yeah, I mean, not a lot of stories, I mean, not a lot of info here. It says it's not clear if this new design is related to the LG Ultra Gear VR, but with CES 2019 now only a month away, hopefully the device will make an appearance. Okay, yeah. I mean, not much information here. It's actually by a different website called Let's Go Digital. So this is where I really should have went. LG VR headset. Yeah, okay, so this is like a German website. Where's Sash the Dash? Sash the Dash, I need you to do a live translation of this. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, will this LG headset like ever see the light of day? I can tell you this. I remember last year at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show, last CES, I was very curious to see LG's CES presentation. And in their entire presentation, they did not utter the words VR one single time. And it was really quite shocking, to be honest with you. Like, there was no information whatsoever about LG in their last CES. So it will be super interesting to see if they just had to delay everything for 1 year, and at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show 2019, we will get this LG headset revealed for the first time. Maybe it will have the Knuckles controllers built in, base stations 2.0. I love the fact that it has all these cameras on the outside, because I really believe AR pass-through is going to be a big deal, and we got to start moving towards that. I think there's a lot of things that you can do with having a lot of cameras on the outside. I like the idea that it is going to have hand tracking, because think about it. If you're going to put on a headset and you're going to see Crow the Legend or something like that, or you're going to see Spheres, why do you need to actually grab controllers? Like you really shouldn't have to grab controllers. If you're going to watch something on Amaze 3D, should you have to grab controllers? No. Your headset should be like, you should just be able to put your headset on and bam, you see your hands in the thing. I mean, when you give it to grandma, do you want to really give grandma a bunch of complicated controllers? No. You just want to put the headset on grandma and you want to say, Grandma, look at your hands. Grandma, look at that whale over there and look at your hands. You want to be able to do that. So I believe our headsets of the future should do that. So hopefully this LG headset, if it really sees the light of day, hopefully that should happen. I mean, the real question is when were those patents registered? That's actually the biggest question. I don't know if it says on here, like, I don't read German, but I wonder when these when were these patent designs dated? And so it looks here like December 6, 2018. I'm assuming that it says that these patents were dated for December 6, 2018. This may never see the light of day, unfortunately. It may never see the light of day. We have to hope that LG simply wasn't ready last year, and they kind of like redesigned some things and they simply weren't ready, and so they kind of scrapped what they had before and they're kind of starting over, and they do have a major VR headset. We got to hope that this is true, you know, and so maybe at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show, which isn't too far away, maybe we will actually get a brand new Steam VR headset that has some major advancements, may come with Knuckles, may come with new base stations. We've also got Vive Cosmos as well. So the Consumer Electronics Show 2019 is looking to be very exciting. So I'm kind of excited by that. Okay, guys, I've been going for way too long. I'm absolutely starving. I need a banana like nobody's business. So I am going to go ahead and grab my little outro logo and say bye-bye for today. I got to go drive to Fry's and buy a motherboard. Yes, I do. That is where all my money is going, 10-6. 10-6, are you out there, baby? I'm curious to see 10-6. 10-6. In in the comments, leave your comment. I'm curious to see what you have to say about all of that. But anyway, that's going to go ahead and do it for today's episode. I know a bit of a scattershot episode today. Not the best episode I've ever had. Of course, we had a lot of noise pollution from Job in the backyard and all of that sort of thing. But, you know, we tried to do the best that we can. We did cover all the games of September 2018, so we got through all of those. What game is going to win the month? Man, I don't know. I don't know what game is going to win the month. Do I? I don't know what game is going to win the month. Yes, I do. I do know what game is going to win the month. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I will be back tomorrow on Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I will see everybody then. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe. Make sure to like the video, even though it was a little bit mediocre today. A little bit mediocre, it happens, but go ahead and like it anyway. And I will be back tomorrow. I will see everybody then. Take it easy. Have a good one. Later.